Oh, California. Get to elect a new governor this year. And we got a crowded field. So, first of all, welcome. I'm glad you're watching this video. If you are, you should be. Because it's time for you to be informed. Or as the left will say, time to be woke. So anyways, alright. So, June 5th is the primary date, the California primary. As you know by now, I got this stupid system where top 2 vote getters for every position that's ran in the state, whether it's for governor, U.S. Senate, the state Senate seats, the congressional seats, assembly seats. So top 2 vote getters, regardless of party affiliation, move on to the general election. That's what it is. It is what it is. It stinks. I think it should always be Democrat versus Republican. But that's how California is. So anyways, I want to talk about the governor's race. And all right, so you probably, I did a previous video about, the governor's race. This is another one. This is the updated version. So from the last video I did back last month, we have one new candidate in the gubernatorial race. That is former Republican Congressman Doug Osee. Yes, Doug Osee, Mr. Yesterday's News, Mr. Has-Been, Mr. Who, that's right, lost to Ami Bera, who got ousted by Ami Bera in 2012, challenged Ami Bera in 2014, lost by 1,455 votes, yet this guy's going to run for governor. Anyway, so Doug Osee, why is he even in the race? Does he not understand the top 2 vote getter thing? The more Republicans that join the race, it makes it easier for Democrats to have 2 Democrats in the general election. Right now, I hate to say, the top 2 vote getters would be Gavin Newsom and Antonio Villaraigosa. Republicans, if they're smart, which a lot of Republicans in California, they need to wake up and realize enough of the same old do nothing, be timid, be weak, be soft. Enough of the the good boy club crap. Okay? You need to rally around one Republican candidate to vote for in the general election to ensure that we have a Republican face off against a Democrat, likely Gavin Newsom, in the general election, which election day is in November. So Doug Osee, why are you joining in the race? Now, Doug Osee, he's a rhino. Yeah, he's a Trump supporter. But if you look at some of his issues, you can go to ontheissues.org. It's a great website. You can look up a lot of these names, these candidates, and see what their stances, their stances and their views. So, so here's a few things. He voted, no. He once voted no to protect the Pledge of Allegiance. He voted, immigration. He's a little wobbly when it comes to immigration. Is he pro, immigration? Is he pro wall? When he was a congressman, he did vote to, keep certain, immigrants that came in this country illegally, allow them to stay a little bit longer if they're looking for work. So his immigration stance is a little wobbly. And then there's some other issues also. But the one that really sticks out to me is the fact that he has a D+ rating from the NRA. A D+? Now, wait a minute. As a Republican, you shouldn't have a grade lower than an A. Even a B+ is bad. How the heck are you going to have a D+ rating from the NRA and you're a Republican? I'll tell you what's sad. Senator Heidi Heitkamp, Democrat senator from North Dakota, has a better grade from the NRA. She's more pro-gun than him. Oh, and she's a Democrat. Yes, a red state Democrat, but a Democrat with a better rating from the NRA than a Republican. Doug Osteen, get the hell out of the race. A D plus? Oh, you don't believe me? Again, on the issues.org, D plus. You got to be kidding me. How you gonna have a D freaking plus? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And you call yourself a Republican. Republican my ass. You shouldn't be in the race. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. But anyway, so since this clown joined the race, now you got him, you got Assemblymember Travis Allen, and oh, you got the California Republican Party, the state party's favorite candidate, John Cox. You know, the state party always wants to endorse the Rhino, the establishment Republican, just do the same thing, the basics. This is the same party that wanted Duff Simon for, run for, for U.S. Senate in 2016. Run him over the more conservative Thomas Del Beccaro. Oh, let's go to the governor race in 2014. Who did they want it? Neil Kaspari over Tea Party favorite Tim Donnelly. Do I need to talk about 2010? Meg Whitman. They always want the weak-ass Republicans. The do-nothing Republicans. The rhinos. Now they want John Cox. Oh, same guy hasn't really always fought, for California. Because remember, he might have been born here, but all the times he's ran for different, state offices, state, political positions was in the state of Illinois. And guess what? Every time he ran, he lost. Oh, he did, one point launch a presidential campaign in 2008. That didn't last long. He didn't make it to the primary because he had no attraction. Oh, and John Cox. Oh, yeah, the same John Cox who ripped, Travis Allen for once going to a dinner and, giving some money to Democrats like Jerry Brown back in the days. Oh, this was before Travis Allen even ran for assembly member, for assembly. Okay, this was years ago. And Travis Allen, in the first debate, admitted that, yes, he went to a dinner. There were Democrats there. He heard him speak. And while he was listening to speak, he thought, well, wait a minute, this is not right. And of course, from there on, he's a Republican. He has criticized Gavin Newsom. He has criticized Jerry Brown. So, what are you trying to say, John Cox? People can't change? They can't change as they get older? As they expand their learning education? They can't change? And yet, here you are, Mr. Big Mouth one. I'm a lifelong Republican. Yeah, you didn't even vote for Trump in 2016. You voted for Gary Johnson, who's part of the Libertarian Party. Gary Johnson, who was against Trump's policies. Oh, but you're a lifelong Republican. And now John Cox, after the first debate, he was acting all desperate. I like how Trump is doing. I like how Trump is doing. Oh, no, I'm for the wall. I'm for the wall. He ain't went for the wall before. You're just trying to get votes. I wonder why you've been acting like that. Oh, maybe because you've been slipping in the polls, boy. You've been slipping in the polls. 2 of the last 4 polls, you've been losing to Travis Allen, the conservative candidate. The only candidate has backed Trump. And yes, Trump's policies on the economy, getting rid of ISIS, they've been good. You may not like the man personally, but you gotta admit Trump is doing a great job. He's doing a solid job. I won't say great, still got a ways to go. But John Cox, you're getting desperate because you're slipping in the polls. And after the first debate between him and Travis Allen, when they had the debate at the Redlands, down in Redlands, they had a straw poll that was taken. And they thought Travis Allen won that debate. Now, usually, the percentages are pretty reasonable. But 80% of the debate goers voted for Travis Allen. 80% to 16% for Cox. 80 to 16. That's a landslide. And then they had the second debate down in LA where John Cox, Mr. Big Mouth, John Cox, lifelong Republican who also on the issue.org, he opposes the death penalty. Oh, but you're a Republican, you oppose the death penalty? Oh, remember, John Cox, second debate, talked about how, we need immigrants to pick, in this state, to pick the fruits and vegetables. Oh. So, is that what immigrants are only good for? To pick the fruits and vegetables? Wow. So much for immigrants, and hopefully he was talking about legal immigrants, the ones that come into this country, go through the legal process, do it the right way. So much, I guess, they're only good to pick fruits and vegetables. Never mind the fact that, you don't need to have an aspiration to be an architect or engineer or, a CEO or who knows. That's what immigrants are only good for? Wow. I thought that was pretty foul on Cox's part. So, California, let's go to this latest poll. This was the Survey USA poll that came out not too long ago. Gavin Newsom at 19%, Antonio Villaraigosa at 10%, Travis Allen at 9%, Villaraigosa 10%. Travis Allen is the leading GOP frontrunner right now, and he's only in that poll 1% shy of Villaraigosa from the top to second position. That means top two. So, things are getting a little interesting. Doug O.C. was at 2%. John Chung at 5%. Wait a minute, where's John Cox? He's at 4%. Like last year when he announced his candidacy to run for governor, I think one of the first few polls that came out had Cox in the top 2, facing off with Gavin Newsom. It was like 25 to 21%. Now you're at 4%? Damn. Hey, John Cox is starting to look like, it kind of reminds me of the 2016 presidential election. Remember the GOP primary? You remember, it kind of reminds me of a guy named Jeb Bush. Start up at the top. Everybody thought it would be Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton. Thank God I never got to that point, because we'd probably be saying President Hillary Clinton or Madam President. Thank God we're not saying that either. Not saying I don't ever want a woman president. Just glad Hillary's not the president. Shoot, give me Nikki Haley as president. Shoot, give me Sarah Huckabee Sanders as president. Kellyanne Conway. I'll take Melania Trump. I'll take a Sarah Palin as president before Hillary Clinton. Okay? The fact that, kind of like Jeb Bush, John Cox is low energy. Low energy John, or low energy Cox. He's low energy. He really doesn't have a plan to fix California. Travis Allen, he's been talking about the gas tax, which is ridiculous. It's hurting Californians. You got the cap and trade, which we had a few traders on the Republican side, like Catherine Baker and Chad Mays and Rocky Chavez, and there was 4 others also. There was a few Democrats that voted like principled conservatives against the cap and trade. It could have died in the assembly, but no, you had 7 Republicans that pandered. So much for being fiscally responsible, fiscally conservative. The gas tax almost died in the Senate. You had a few Democrats that said no, but all it took was 1 Republican to vote for Anthony Cannella. It passed in the Senate. And of course it passed in the Assembly, and then Governor Brown signed it off. He signed it. So he's been talking about that. Hopefully you get one of these Republican candidates that talks about California. not Mississippi, but California now has the highest poverty rate in the country. This was for 2017. 20%. California? But we have Silicon Valley. We got those wonderful jobs in other parts of the Bay Area. We got Hollywood. This is impossible. Oh, well, you got these crazy Democrats. They want to tax this, gas tax and cap and trade and all these regulations. What's next? Of course, you got DMV. You got to pay higher for vehicle registration. What's next? Are you going to tax us for every time we take a dump in the toilet? Or is it going to be a sneezing tax, a sneeze tax every time we sneeze? Are you going to be taxed for that? Because we're polluting the earth. 20%. That is despicable, appalling, deplorable, asinine, blasphemous. It's an abomination. It's just so wrong. And yet, Californians still okay with being this a progressive state. This is what happens when you have progressivism. It fails eventually. You got poor people suffering, and yet, instead of taking care of veterans, many of them homeless, instead of taking care of legal American citizens that live in the state that are getting taxed to death, you want to help out the people that are in this state, it's us alone in this country illegally. Just appalling. So, and by the way, our Second Amendment rights, they're becoming more and more restricted by the day, thanks to Governor Senile Brown. Governor Senile Brown. He is so senile. And Gavin Newsom, if he becomes governor, will just be just as bad or worse than Jerry Brown. We cannot allow Democrats to continue to run the state. It's funny how Democrats were telling Republicans during the presidential election that, country over party. And they were praising the few Republicans that decided they weren't going to vote for Trump, and some voted for Hillary Clinton. Like, thank you, country over party. Well, you know what? Now the tables have turned, Democrats. The tables have turned. Now it's country over party. Now it's you guys got to decide. Country over party. The Democrats have been running the state for a long time. Our education system still stinks. We're still ranked near the bottom as far as education. Poverty, I already talked about that. The rent's too high. Gas prices are too high. Vehicle registration is too high. We're getting tax. Maybe it's time for some conservatives to run this state. At minimum, just give us a chance. Give us a few years. That's all we're asking for. Gavin Newsom's not going to fix it. Antonio Villaraigo's not going to fix it. John Chung's not going to fix it. We don't know what John Cox is going to do. He's just not a great candidate at all. He's slipping. He doesn't have a plan. He's not aggressive. Travis Allen is he's a young, fresh face. And if a Republican were ever going to have a chance to win, it'll be now. It's now or never. And I urge all the other Republicans that are undecided, or maybe think they want to vote for John Cox, just think about it. Maybe just the undecided Republicans. And I speak to the independents because I know there's more registered voters that are independent than are registered Republicans. And that's concerning. I know Democrats have an advantage, but if you're tired of how people at the state capitol are running this state, hopefully Republicans can talk about these issues and plan how to solve it. Maybe if Republicans can bring up the issues, and then bring up how to solve. How. Of course, you have the what, when, where, when, what, where. Well, pretty much is who, what, where, when, and why, but also how. If Republicans can do that, hopefully it is Travis Allen, but if it's Cox, if you can bring up the issues, if you go into these communities, let's say highly Democrat, there's a lot of people that are, maybe a lot of them are not registered to vote. Get them to register to vote. There are a lot of independents. Go into the Bay Area, Sacramento, down south, LA, I don't care. Go to the hood. Compton, Inglewood, Stockton, Oakland, Richmond. Go to the hoods. Talk to them. You gotta be active, Republicans. You gotta be active. If you could do that, I see Travis Allen doing that. But for any Republican that, let's say, gets into the general election, if you could do that and convince them to vote for you and give you a chance and say, you know what? I might have voted Democrat all my life, but you know what? I'm tired. Or I'm independent, but I've kind of voted Democrat lately, but I'm tired of what's going on. If you could convince them, then we got a shot. It's time to wake up, California. It's time to wake up. So, with that said, this is the latest edition. This is the latest video brought to you by Right Choices. Please check out the Facebook page. You'll see the picture of the bald eagle and the American flag. Easy to find. Find it on Facebook. Like the page so you get all the information, all the opinion pieces, all the videos that the mainstream media does not want you to know. They don't want you to be informed. They don't want you to be woke. That's why a lot of times they're labeled as fake news. Here, there's no fake news. There's real news, there's real posts, there's real opinion pieces, because it's time for people to wake the hell up. And that's all I got to say. So as always, may God bless you, may God bless your family, and as always, may God bless the United States of America. And last but not least, deuces.